So most of the time when we find solutions to quadratics, they won't be integers. The solutions won't be integers. The x's that make this thing true won't be integers. So what we're going to do now is we're going to continue the same process, except now we're going to estimate where the zeros are. And actually what we're going to do is find the two consecutive integers for which the integers are in between. And we're going to continue the same process. The first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this as y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 4. I'm going to graph it with a table. So I'm going to find the axis of symmetry. That's x equal to negative b over 2a equal to negative 2 over 2 times 1. Again, that is equal to 1. So that's my axis of symmetry. It gives me the points, or the center of this thing where I want to start my search for the zeros. I'm going to start my search for x's and y's, and I'm going to start it right in the middle at 1. I'm going to go to 0, negative 1, negative 2. I'm going to go to 2, 3, and 4, and hopefully I'll get an idea where my zeros are, or get an idea of where my zeros are right here when I do this. So I'm going to put it into the calculator and find those values of f of x for x, for given x's. I'm going to go here and plot it. I'm going to clear. I'm going to put in x squared minus 2x minus 4. I'm going to check that that's my actual equation. It is my actual equation, so now I'm going to use the trace function because I like the trace function for this. I'm going to graph it. I'm going to zoom 6, which is zoom standard, which takes it back to the standard window. I'm going to go back to graph. I'm going to zoom 6. I'm going to go back to the window. So that's what I'm working on. When I hit trace, I get at x equals 0, at x equals 0, y is equal to 4, so I can get rid of that. And x is equal to 0, y is equal to 4. So now I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to see if I can't get rid of those, delete, because I don't like them. Delete, delete. I'm going to make that big again, and now I'm going to start looking. I'm going to look at x is equal to negative 1 and enter, and I get negative 1 at negative 1. I'm going to look at negative 2. So I'm going to put in negative 2 and hit enter. And at negative 2, I'm at 4. So that really tells me a lot because right here it switches signs. It goes from, that's supposed to be a negative, it goes from negative 1 to 0. So between these two integers, at between negative 1 and negative 2, this thing crosses right here. So I've actually found my first two integers. This thing crosses, or this thing has a 0 between negative 2 and negative 1. I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to put negative 2 less than x less than negative 1. So sometime when x is between these two values, f of x is 0. So now I'm going to go find my other one. I'm going to go put in 1 next. When I put 1 in there, I get negative 5. That doesn't do me any good. I get negative 5, wrong color. Negative 5. When I put 2 in there, I get negative 4. I get negative 4. I'm betting 3 is, was that right? 3 is negative 4. 3 is going to be negative 1, and I'm betting 4 is 2, or 4 is 4. Let's see what we get. 3 is negative 1, and 4 is, should be 4. 4 should be 4. Hit 4, hit enter, and 4 is 4, so I'm good. So now I can graph this the way the book wants us to. I get negative 2, 4. I get negative 1, negative 1. I get 0, negative 4. I get 1, negative 5. I get 2, negative 4. I get 3 is supposed to be negative 1. That's supposed to be negative 1. Negative 1. 3 is supposed to be negative 1, and then at 4, I'm up here. So I get this quadratic right here. It crosses right there. The other place where x is going to be between is between 3 and 4. So that's the answer. That's what I'm looking for. Between negative 1 and between negative 2 and negative 1, this equation over here has a 0. And between 3 and 4, this equation has a 0. That's the answer that it's looking for.